Okay, this lesson is for 26B, and this is going to help us to learn a little bit about what is called paper space. Up until now, we've been working in model space, and down here, if you look at model space, you've been used to working in this black area, or whatever color your background color is, to do all of your drawings, and we've drawn title blocks and everything else in there. And again, this is 26A that I'm working with currently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go to File, Save As, and I'm going to save this as 26B, my decimal setup. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save. And again, we're currently in model space, but when I click here on Layout 1, this is what is known as paper space. And a little bit how it works is this right here is called a viewport. That's just there by default. DraftSight just puts that in. This white sheet back here is the paper. This dash line right here is the margins for what the printer or what area it will print on. So it's basically going to print anything that's inside of those dash lines. And kind of how it works is if I were to draw a rectangle and I realize this is on a 0 layer and I go to Layout 1, it's going to show you kind of what that looks like. And we're going to talk about scaling and viewports and what all this means. But it's kind of like a picture frame. This is the piece of paper, this is the picture frame, and then that rectangle currently would be the picture. So again, you'll get a lot of experience with this, and you'll see how this works as we progress. Right now, just make sure you have something called 26B, my decimal setup, and we're going to go ahead and get this started. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go to Layout 1 tab, and I'm going to go to File, Print Configuration Manager. And yours is probably just going to say none. I've already been working with this, so I have one called 17 by 11. I'm going to try and delete it so I get mine to look like yours. So here it is. I've got none, and I'm going to go ahead and go to New. And again, we're going to base it on the default. And I'm going to call mine 17 by 11 and just hit Save. And it says you already have it because I worked with this before. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that I want to replace it, and it should go ahead and start showing up. And basically what it does is it brings you to all of your different print properties that you have in DraftSight, and we want to use the HP 110 Plus because that is our large printer inside the classroom. We want to use ANSI B for our paper size, which is a B-size piece of paper, or 11 by 17. And then I don't know if your computer is going to have the same issue that mine does here, but mine kind of gets all scrunched up down here. And I found that if I click on Specify or click on Current View and then Specify, and I keep kind of messing around and then hit Escape, then it expands. So I think that's a computer error or glitch more than anything, but I did find a way around it. So again, make sure you have HP 110 up here, ANSI B for paper size. Make sure this is on 1:1. Okay, 1 inch equals 1 inch or 1:1. Make sure the print range is on the sheet. Make sure it is on landscape over here. And then the last thing that we need to check on is under additional options. You want to make sure this is on none. But if I ever tell you I want you to print out only in black and white, then you want to make sure it's on monochrome. If this is on none, it's going to print out in color, which is fine. But there may be times when I tell you that I want it to be on monochrome, and this is where you do it under additional print options. So I'm going to leave mine on none currently, but again, I may tell you I want you to change that in the future. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. I'm going to go ahead and click Save, and I'm going to go ahead and click Close. And then when I go back to my Print Configuration Manager, there's the 17 by 11 right there, and I'm going to go ahead and assign that to layout number 1. And actually, before I do that, I just want to show you this. Layout number 1 and layout number 2 are the same. And I believe I read in the help section that you can have up to 255 different tabs. So you might have a tab on here that has an A-size title block, a B-size title block, a C-size title block, and so on. So I can assign, these changes to whatever layout I want to. So here it is again. Print Configuration Manager. I'm going to go to my 17 by 11. I'm going to go to Assign To, and I'm going to go ahead and assign that to Layout 1. And when I click Apply, you're going to notice that this is currently an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. And I set it, the 17 by 11, I set that to be a B-size piece of paper. So you should watch the piece of paper get bigger when I click Apply. So I'm going to go ahead and click Apply. and click close, and click close, and you just notice that the piece of paper got much bigger. And you can use the dimension toolbar to kind of check this out. It doesn't really snap, but it will give you an idea of basically how wide this is. If I zoom in, that's approximately 16.3 inches wide, which makes sense if it's a 17-inch wide piece of paper. You're not going to be able to print on all 17 inches. So that's a little bit of how you set that up. And now we are good to go as far as the layout 1 is set. So the last thing that they want us to do on this one is they want us to change the name from layout 1. So I'm going to right click on it and go to rename, and they want us to change it from layout 1 to 11 by 17 1-to-1. And I'm just going to write 1-to-1 scale, so we know. And I think I'll put the 1-to-1 scale just like that, or maybe I'll put no space in between these, so it's a little bit easier to read on the tab. So 11 by 17 1-to-1 scale. Click OK, and it looks like that. So now instead of it saying layout 1, it actually has a title, and we should be good to go. And in the next tutorial, you'll see me starting to draw the title block. So that one will also be 26 feet. So we'll see you in the next tutorial.